This didn't happen by accident. You intentionally have chosen to be here today.
The BodCon 2024 replay. Discover how to maintain authentic connections and build lasting relationships in today's digital world, where love might not always be as blind as we think. Join Iskra Lawrence and TikTok dating influencer Risa Tisa as they share insights on navigating modern love, building confidence in your connections, and finding authenticity in a digital world where dating is constantly evolving.
Okay, here we go. You'll wait. Here she is. Hi. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to BodCon 2024.
Thank you. It's so good to see you.
How's your day going? How are you feeling?
It's going. It's good.
That's like the year. And Philip, my husband, might be running down the stairs any time to come meet you because he is your biggest fan, and he definitely was the one who put me on. We're a little bit obsessed with all things relationships and love and just understanding, because it is such a big part of our lives. And I know that you really, you let the whole world into your life in a way that no one has ever done before. So firstly, thank you for having, what inspired you to make the first video? Was it one video, or were you like, I'm about to do 50? What got you to that place to want to share?
No, so I didn't think it was going to be 50 parts, but the decision was simply, I'm going to just tell the whole story from start to finish, however many parts it'll be, and go ahead and just own, the good, the bad, the embarrassing, the missed flags, everything, and just put it out there. But I definitely didn't think a lot of people were going to watch it, simply because it was 10-minute videos, and TikTok is typically 30 seconds and you're on to the next thing. So I really didn't think a lot of people were going to sit down and watch it and share it and really get into it.
I mean, it's proof in a world, and as someone who creates content and is online, we're constantly told 3 seconds. That's the only thing people will give you attention. They'll give you attention for 3 seconds. And if it's longer than that, they don't pay attention. You changed. You flipped the script in a whole different way. And you enabled us to actually take 10 minutes of our lives to just sit and listen and take something in. So I think you really helped a lot of people heal. I think it was therapy for a lot of people. And so we're going to delve into the questions now, because I feel like we're also probably going to have a lot of questions in the comments. So feel free to drop them, everybody. Yeah, look, you have a knack for storytelling. It was riveting. I mean, is there a movie coming? Is there a book coming? You must be doing all the things.
There is a book coming. So you guys are first to kind of hear of that. There is a book coming. I just finished the book proposal. So book proposal, shop it, and then that's coming. And then the show, which we're in the very, very, very early stages of the show, but that's in the works with Natasha Rothwell.
Love this. Okay, so let's talk about social media. How has social media changed the way that we approach dating and relationships?
Man, social media, it's a great tool, but at the same time, it is such a dangerous tool, because people can send out their representatives, right? Yeah. And you don't actually know who you are meeting. Even when you meet face to face, you do not know who this person is, because social media has kind of made us think that it's real, when in fact a lot of it is very, very artificial. So it's hard to date and be authentic in a world that literally was designed to be virtual, and by definition is not even real in itself.
And how do we, because there's key differences, right, between a digital and an in-person connection. How do we bridge that gap? How do we,
Man, so the thing about bridging the gap, the internet allows you to meet any and everyone, right? Which is that's why I say it's a wonderful tool. You can meet someone literally on the other side of the world, but you cannot forget that personal connection and that personal one-on-one, because a person can only put on their mask, but for so long. And in social media, it allows you to put that mask on every single day, all day. Right. But one-on-one in the real world, basically, it eventually has to come off. So I try to really encourage people, if you meet someone on social media or in the digital world, that's great. But make sure that as you transition into real life, you are paying attention to everything. And is it matching up with not only what your values are, but what this person, their representative, initially showed you in the virtual world?
And so I'm thinking, because you've been very open about the missed flags, do you have new red flags that are like your absolute boundaries of like, I'm never going to miss these again? Or, if you're currently talking to new people or navigating new relationships, whether that be romantically or even friendship or even work, what are some of the red flags that are just like no-goes?
Some of the red flags for me personally that weren't red flags before. And so again, this is a learning journey. I'm just keeping it real. But for me, if someone puts me down, but they try to describe it as a joke, that's a huge red flag. Especially if I'm trying to put in effort and I'm trying to come and be authentic and be who I am. And even if there's misunderstanding, they put you down, but yet they think it's funny. See, I don't think it's funny anymore. So I'm not laughing at when you try to insult or belittle or disrespect me. Another thing that I think is a red flag that I did not catch before, but now I do. If I tell you, hey, this bothers me, this is something that I don't align with, and you are not even trying to meet me halfway to change that, that is a huge red flag. That's something that I'm going to walk away from, because I respect people who are at least trying and they're putting in effort.
Because I feel like there is a misconception, right? When people say you shouldn't want to change somebody when you're in a relationship. However, I have to agree with you in the aspect of it's not like you're wanting to change who they are, but there might be certain behaviors or certain even like it's really cool. Me and Philip have very open conversations. And I remember him saying, I love that you're English, but your English accent can sound extra condescending sometimes. And he just said, there's something with your tone sometimes. If you could like work on that a little bit. And that was something I'm willing to do. It wasn't changing who I was, but it was just being observant, being like a Virgo, being pretty particular, liking my things the way it was. Plus, I guess, having this extra like accent and pizzazz. I was like, okay, let me work on my tone. And similar with him, I was like, can you just try and close the kitchen cabinets? Or like, there's little things, right? But what about confidence? Confidence, I feel like plays such a big role in relationships. And we talk about this, like, you can't love yourself. I mean, you can't love someone else until you love yourself. How do you feel like your confidence played into, your previous relationships versus your new relationships moving forwards?
So I'll just be honest with you and the audience. I feel as though I had no confidence, which is what led me to even be in the marriage that I was in, because I was not even remotely taking care of myself. So now, and I've been very, very open about this, where I am very much hitting the brakes on dating, because there's a lot of healing that needs to get done. But one of the things that I feel as though knowing who I am and standing in who I am is the reason why I am not afraid anymore to say, you know what, God, if this person isn't for me, remove them. And that is such a very, very powerful prayer. I know everyone has their things, but for me, I'm very confident in saying, if you are not for me, God, please remove them, because I don't even want to waste my time. I don't even want to get invested. I don't even want to go through that, because the fact of the matter is I've been there before, and this is a lesson I learned, which is if you love you and you are good with you, another person's not going to complete you. They're not, it's not the fantasy that you think it's going to be. So you have to be okay with walking away. And I admit, when I made the Who the F Did I Marry 50-part series, I was not okay with walking away, which is why I put up with a lot of stuff that most people are like, what were you thinking? Because I wasn't okay to walk away. Now that I'm learning myself, loving myself, healing myself, I'm not afraid to walk away. And that is all tied into that confidence.
were you afraid of failing, like failure in, walking away from a marriage? Because I've heard people, and I've even had, a close friend who was in a relationship for 13 years and a marriage for 8 years. And, there was abuse there, and it was a lot. There was a lot going on. And, a lot of us kind of like, she seemed like a probably confident person, successful. And she said it was very much like, I remember, grown up, had divorced parents, and said, I do not want to fail in marriage. So I'm going to just stick with it and just like power through and just like try and like figure it out. And eventually like it will work out. Is there elements of that? Or, you said about feeling whole. Do you think there was like work you could have done before or during the marriage that would have helped you feel like you were enough to walk away sooner? Or
So for me, I was married for a total of 6 months, right? And my attitude in the beginning of the marriage was, you made your bed, you're gonna have to lie in it.
yeah.
The issue that I had within my marriage was, I found out very quickly I had no idea who I married. None. So it is a little different when you discover everything was a lie. And it was almost as if I had absolutely no choice but to leave, because so many things were in danger. However, I know that the attitude of, I'm going to stick this out, I don't want to fail. I did not get married to get divorced. But I also have to be honest with myself that my reasons for getting married were not really 100% in the right. So I started off on the left foot. You know what I mean? And so in owning that, it was kind of like, okay, how do I fix this? Well, once I discovered this was not going to be fixable, my only option was to leave, and to leave as quickly and as strategically as I possibly could. I know everyone's situation is different, and some people do get married and they're like, I didn't think it was going to be this, but I'm gonna stick it out. And I've been taught marriage is for better or for worse. But I do think it's important that you marry someone you actually know what you are dealing with, so that way you don't have to make those kinds of decisions 6 months later. But I laugh because honestly, sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. So it's just one of those things where, in my case, I left because I had no idea. As I said in the series, I had no idea who was in that guest bedroom. No idea.
It's terrifying, and obviously you found that out in a short space of time. But there are people who turn around after 20 years of marriage. I had someone at my school, and found out his dad had a whole other family in a different country, and that can happen to people at any time in these relationships. So how can you heal from that? You've just found out this information. Like you said, you're looking at this person who you fell in love with, who you already spent your life with, and now you're looking at them and you're thinking, this is a stranger. Not only is this a stranger, you destroyed my trust. You destroyed the holy sacrament of marriage, like the one thing maybe you've been like thinking about your whole life. I'm going to marry this person that I love, and you destroyed all of that because of your own selfishness or ego or whatever it might be. How do you take the first step, day one, of healing from that? Where do you start?
So I think the first decision is, number one, do you want to stay, or do you want to stay? Do you want to leave? I'm a big believer in whichever one you choose is your right. So if you decide you want to stay and work on it, then that is your right to stay and work on it. If you choose to leave, and sometimes I know in my case, the leaving wasn't so much the hard part, because it almost was as if I was acting on adrenaline. I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here quickly. I got to go. It wasn't until, and I did talk about this, where I got my final divorce decree. And that's when all of those emotions just came at one time. So to the people who decide that they're leaving, this is what I am learning. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a know-it-all, because I'm not. But give yourself grace and give yourself time. It's okay. I'm telling myself this, and I will say this to every woman and every man. You will get through this, but it is going to take some time. You will have days where you miss them, and you will have days where you may want to commit a felony. It takes time. It takes time. Give yourself that grace. And more so than something I really want to advocate for, it is therapy.
Yeah.
Talking it out, getting out those emotions. Don't bottle it in, don't internalize it because it only hurts you. So once you decide which way you want to go, it's really important that you create boundaries for yourself. What is a trigger to you that you're like, I can't see this, I can't hear this? That's okay, because you're trying to heal something. And as we all know, even when you get surgery, it takes time to heal.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So the healing part, this is where I'm trying to be honest and vulnerable with people when I say I'm still in a healing journey, because social media will make you think you should immediately move on to someone else. No. Take your time,
Yeah.
and take your time in your own what works for you. My time may not be your time. Your time may not be her time. Everyone's journey is different. But one thing I have learned is that everyone deserves grace to themselves, because sometimes the biggest beat that we get is the one we give ourselves. And I'm guilty of that.
For sure. Yeah, no, this is beautiful, really gentle advice. I love it. And to think that you were healing whilst the world was watching, I'm sure you never expected that. Did you feel like this 50-part series was kind of therapy for you? And do you encourage people, they don't have to make a 50-part series, but like writing the letter or doing some kind of like exercise to like really put down, like maybe it's journaling or something, these thoughts and process it?
So I not only do I advocate for people to get their story out, but I always add a little bit to that, which is get your story out in the manner that you are comfortable with. You do not have to duplicate the 50-part series that I did or this 72-part series somebody else did. You may simply have one part, and your one part may not be for social media. Your one part may be a letter. It may be a journal. It may be talking to your family and your friends and saying, okay, I'm ready to get this out. Your one part may be a book. You know what I mean? So you don't have to duplicate what someone else did, but get it out when you're ready. Don't let anyone make you tell your side of the story before you're ready, before it's time. Because part of the healing journey, at least from what I can admit, this story all happened in 2020, 2021. I was not ready to talk about it until 2024. You see what I'm saying? So give yourself, express who you are and how you feel when it's ready for you on your terms, the way that you see it's best for you.
I love that. And then in the comments, they're saying express on your own terms, because you have like, there is a sense of when you have some kind of, let's just call it failed relationship, losing ownership of that time of that relationship, almost like someone's stolen it from you. You know, you've got the rug pulled under your feet. You thought you were going one way and then whoo. So I totally agree. I think getting it back to it being on your terms is definitely a way to re-empower yourself. Now, we're still talking about obviously dating in a digital first world. So how would you help individuals, anyone who's, you know, watching right now, who's trying to date or build relationships? How do they be more authentic and create long-lasting connections online?
So if you are an authentic person, don't change that. Be you, right? But you're going to have to create some sort of boundary that is best for you, because in this world, you will have people who will approach you and say everything they think they want you, that you want to hear. And you have to be able to say, okay, if this does not align with me, I'm leaving. Period.
Right.
Just because you were dating does not mean that you owe some sort of explanation or contract to people. In the simplest form, as you are going through the virtual world of dating and you're meeting people, have conversations, have fun. As you are getting to know them one-on-one, face-to-face, go ahead and you know, I've said this before, get you a background check. Like, I'm a big believer in get you that background check just in case. I say this like trust but verify. You can trust what they're saying, but verify everything. And please understand that I'm saying this as Risa Tisa, who went through a situation where I did not verify stuff. Yeah. And I verified it after getting married. I want to be able to try and save someone the headache of verifying afterwards. Verify on the front end. Because again, the world that we live in is so much more open because of social media and digital dating, right? Mm-hmm. But you still got to do your checks and balances because, again, you may be authentic. That doesn't mean that they are authentic. Mm-hmm. They very well may come at you as authentic. There's nothing wrong with verifying the information that you're given, especially if this is someone that you're considering having a relationship with.
Absolutely. The way I'm imagining some people now going home and Risa Tisa said, I'm about to check it. I can just imagine it. But okay, I have one. It's kind of a silly question. Are you checking phones or not? If we got a man that's with the phone down all the time by the side of his bed when he's in the shower, are we asking for the password? Are we checking his phone when he's asleep? Are we not? How do we handle little things like that? Because I know this actually comes up because I have had tons of friends be like, I had this gut feeling and I just had to check his phone.
Okay. If you had asked me this in 2019, my answer would be different.
Ooh, okay.
So my 2024 answer is I do not check phones. Okay. I absolutely, under no circumstance am I going through your phone.
Okay.
Because, and this is why I say this, if I think that there's something that's not sitting right, mm-hmm. and there's something in your phone, I'm just going to trust the fact there's something in your phone. And I said it before in the series and people thought that I was kidding. I do not go through phones. I did it. You absolutely will find something. If you look for it, you're going to find something. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it may not even be what you're thinking it is.
Yeah.
But if you have something in you that says something's not right, 2024, am mm-hmm. telling you something's not right. Yeah. And I am now choosing to believe that voice over anything else. You can keep your phone, you can keep your password, you can keep all that because eventually it will come out. But I'm going to trust that intuition. I do not go through phones anymore. No, I don't. No, I don't go through phones.
Past 2 relationships have checked their phones. Not going to lie, I felt the gut intuition. Of course, found exactly what I thought, or something similar. Right? Mm-hmm. This relationship, gosh, nearly 8 years now, not checked his phone once, and I agree. Or at least I think my first response is, if there was any niggly gut thing, is the conversation. Like, mm-hmm. bring it up and be like, that didn't sit right with me. I remember actually one of the first times, this was when we were first together, he liked his ex-girlfriend's picture on Instagram. And I felt embarrassed and humiliated to have to bring this up. And I started with that. I was like, listen, this is embarrassing because I know it's just an Instagram like, but I didn't like it. I'm just going to let you know and get it out in the air, or else I could be weird. I could have mm-hmm. some weird energy with you. And we really set off on that kind of like as a start of our relationship, just honesty, openness, like let each other know what you aren't comfortable with. And listen, Risa Tisa, we are going to verify. We're going to trust and verify. And that is the energy for 2025. So I would love to know, just to wrap this all up, what do you hope 2025 is going to bring you? What's the energy for your 2025? You know, how can we support you? What's 2025 looking like for you?
So for me, what I hope 2025 brings me is a new level of peace and a new level of confidence.
Yeah.
Not arrogance, not cockiness, no, but a new level of, I really do. I like Risa. I like her. She's cool because I know her. So I hope 2025 brings that sense of, I know who I am. And whether I meet someone or I don't meet someone, the fact of the matter is I'm a whole lot stronger than I gave myself credit for, because I very much was embarrassed and shamed and all these other things. And now I feel like I'm going into 2025 owning it. I know I messed up. I know I saw red flags and they were pink and all this other stuff, But you know what? My heart and my goal is that the audience sees she doesn't have it all together, but at least she's trying. Like, she's not even going to pretend that she has it all together. At least she's trying. And she's honest about the fact that, look, I got some days where I struggle to get out of bed and to go do an interview where they're going to ask me, so why did you stay?
Yeah.
And I'm owning it. And I see and I feel a sense of freedom in owning it. And that's what I hope to convey to other people. You do not have to have it all together. You do not have to have the perfect lighting, the perfect makeup. You can have a scarf on your head and tell your story however you want to tell your story, because the heart of it is the story, not how you look. You know what I mean? So I hope it brings me a new level of peace. I hope that it's a new level of success and favor, because that's I want to help people, but at the same time, I want to do it in a way where people are like, you know what? She's not trying to preach at me. Like, she's like my cousin. I can just talk to Risa. That's what I hope.
You did. You let us in a way that people just haven't before. And yeah, thank you for online friendship and vulnerability. And yeah, you really set the stage for so many of us to be more vulnerable as well. So really appreciate you. Thank you for your time today. We will be following along, getting that book on pre-order, waiting for the show. So yeah. Oh, wait. I think someone might be coming.
Is he there?
Yes, he's here. I was like texting him, where are you?
Oh my goodness.
This is Philip. This is our baby, our second baby.
Hi.
Huge fan of how you built your brand. And it's something that I use for the artists that I manage, of like how to just be authentic with your story, and like how you don't need all the production, you don't need all the glitz and glamour. All you need is like real authentic storytelling. And I'm just so happy and proud of you being able to tell your truth, and that it's resonated with so many people.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. But seriously, I really, really do appreciate that. That means a lot. It really does.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. All right, everyone. Speak to you in a second. Bye, Risa.
Subscribe to this channel and also give it a like. And if you want to follow along with us in real time, you can find us at the BodCon on Instagram and TikTok.